The United States of America wastes more than 35 million tons of food every year. That makes more than 20 pounds of food per person every month. Only 3% of this wasted food is donated or composted. The other 97% ends up in landfills and incinerators, emitting a greenhouse gas more harmful than CO2. Wasted food accounts for the largest component of U.S. municipal solid waste. 1 in 6 Americans, which is over 49 million people, don't know where their next meal is coming from. And of these 49 million, 1 in 4 are children. So is there a solution?
Well, the solution involves regular college students like you and I. The Food Recovery Network and many organizations like it have been working towards reducing these statistics by enlisting the help of local college students. After the dining halls close, the Food Recovery Network organizes recoveries where normal college students go and recover food that would otherwise have been thrown away by the dining services. Once the food is counted, it is transported to local homeless shelters and other charitable organizations to provide food for those in need.
Once assigned to the Food Recovery Network as our CBL project, our first order of business was to organize, delegate tasks, and choose a team leader. Our designated team positions were as follows. Myself, Patrick Ronk, was the team leader, in charge of delegating, ensuring all responsibilities were being done. Maria was in charge of team relations and community relations. Tolu was in charge of outreach, and Vel was in charge of multimedia and all sorts of picture and video taking. We soon mocked up our team contract, and during the process we bonded and became more than just a CBL group. We became Patrick Ronk and the Foodies. For our CBL project, we outlined 2 major goals. First, it was to assist the Food Recovery Network to recover food after all major sporting events. Our job was to have a representative from our CBL group to attend almost every sporting event and recover after every one. In short, our primary role was to join the Food Recovery Network and ensure that every recovery that happened afterwards went off without a problem. Now please follow us through the day in the life as a member of the Food Recovery Network.
Throughout our CBL experience, only 2 major conflicts arose: scheduling and finding a way to carve our own niche within the Food Recovery Network organization. As a team, we worked extremely well together and maintained open lines of communication consistently throughout the semester. Communication was a major strong suit in our group. Organization was a major challenge in the beginning. We had 1 team member leave the program, so finding a schedule to assign which member was going to which recovery was a major obstacle to overcome. But once we came up with a working schedule, every member was able to attend the recoveries and there was no more confusion.
Alright, thank you.
A lot of it's more, there's a lot more too. Do you have a or a bin?
Food for days.
Bring the bag.
You guys.
Go get the bag.
Oh yeah, sausage.
Thank you so much, Joe. Really appreciate it.
What's that?
This is David, our chair. Right now we're driving to the church to drop off the food.
reached your destination.
We are.
What did you-
While our food recovery experience was fantastic, we wanted to take more of an initiative and more of a leadership role on campus in order to help not only our community, but the DC area as a whole. In order to do this, we came up with a groundbreaking idea. Just 1 point.
1 point.
1 point.
1 point.
1 day.
1 day.
1 day.
1 day.
27,000 students.
27,000 students.
27,000 students.
27,000 students.
To best show our leadership skills and initiative, we contacted Dining Services, the Residence Hall Association, and other student groups to organize and hold one huge meal point donation drive, where students can choose to donate 1 meal point from their dining plans to a local charity. We picked a charity in DC called So Others Might Eat, or SOME. It was a huge success, with over 20 people volunteering from many student groups, including public leadership and the Residence Hall Association, and we managed to raise $2,642.03.
I think one of the major things I learned is you don't have to hold a major position of authority to make a difference in your community, especially with us. We're just local college students. I didn't think we would be able to make a substantial impact, but through our work with the CBL experience and the Food Recovery Network, I now know that someone even as small as me in the world can make a big difference in the community. With our Dining Point Drive, we raised close to $3,000. I think it was $2,600. And it just shows that anyone who all you need to do is care. So if anyone cares, they can make a difference.
So I think our project was kind of broken up into 2 parts. So there's kind of like 2 learning experiences for me on this. I think the first obviously was our food recoveries and just kind of the day-to-day stuff. The main thing I learned from that was just have an open line of communication at all time. We were really able to function well as a group and kind of work through our conflicts and work through our kinks by talking to each other, by talking with our advisors, by talking with the PL staff. Connie, who was our Food Recovery Network contact, she was always on top of signing up. She was on top of making sure we were organized, and it really helped us. It really helped our group, and it just made it better as a whole. And it really allowed us to get a great experience, especially going to one of the homeless shelters, which we were providing the food for, and seeing exactly where the food was going, seeing exactly what we were bringing to. It kind of made our small-scale project look bigger in the grand scheme of things. And the other was obviously our meal point donation drive, which just from an administrative standpoint was such a great leadership experience from all of us. And it really kind of taught me personally that things aren't that hard as long as you know who to ask and you know how to ask. So all it took for me was 1 email to the director of dining services, Colleen Wright-Riva, 1 one-on-one conversation with one of the higher ups in the Residence Hall Association, and just a few emails to student groups, and we were able to organize this huge event and raise so much money in such a short period of time that it really spoke to me. It just proved that things aren't necessarily hard as long as you have the right ideas. If you can just say to someone, hey, I have this idea, this is how I want to do it, if it's a great idea, they'll be receptive to it, and they'll really want to help you out, which I think is great. So just from a leadership perspective, I just learned that if you put your mind to things, if you really work hard on things, it's not as difficult, it's not as frustrating as it would be.
I think for me, the biggest thing that I took away from the CBL project was the importance of, building your own role in a group and focusing on your strengths. Because I find that when, obviously, as is the case in our group, when everyone does that, then, the group as a whole will succeed. But even beyond just being within a group, I found that we needed to build our own role in Food Recovery Network, period, because it's a fairly established organization. They have chapters all across the country at different colleges. So it's kind of hard for us to just, go up there and be like, hey, like, we're here, give us a leadership role. Like, no, you have to really build your own. And I think that our group ended up doing that through the points drive, where we raised like $3,000 for the network as a whole. And that definitely was us coming together with all of our strengths and using that in order to carve our own role in the group. And that definitely helped us succeed. We succeeded in the long run.
Leadership. As abstract and contextual as it sounds, I think it can be boiled down to one word: act. Because whether you're a transformational or transactional leader, an includer or someone with WOO, an ISTP or ENFJ, if you don't take the next step, if you don't write out the first line, if you don't speak out what's in your mind, if you don't act, then nothing will be realized. And so being able to do CBL, we were able to have the hands-on experience. And through this project, we have gained so much. But the one lesson I'd like to share is that one man's trash is another man's treasure. For our organization, that really was what it was. Because the food that people would normally waste became something so precious. It became a meal for them. And not just us, but for everyone who gave their time for their CBL project. Even though it might have seemed like a time wasted, for the partner organization that you guys work with all the people that you interact with, for them it could have been such a valuable thing. So keep on acting.
We thank you very much for viewing our project, and we hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you. Any questions?